The emptiness of San Francisco is hitting a brand new record. Now, we thought it couldn't get any worse, but it's getting worse. I think it's a domino effect. When the brick and mortar big retail stores are leaving, those are going to be the death of the city. So Nordstrom, Whole Foods, Uniqlo, Anthropologie, and like 16 others, big stores, these anchor stores, when they left, they carried a lot of employees with them, a lot of money, and then afterwards, small business owners trickled out, and offices are hitting a brand new high in vacancies. For example, vacancies pre-pandemic was like 3 to 5%. Now it's like 30 to 40%. So you get the idea. It's like 10x in vacancies. And now what's even worse is the thing that makes San Francisco so great is because of the tech. And tech corporations love having their tech events in San Francisco. If you have an event in San Francisco, it's usually considered very prestigious. But now it seems like putting a tech event in San Francisco is no longer prestigious. In fact, some people much rather have a tech event somewhere else, especially places like Las Vegas, Tampa, Miami, Orlando, and even Austin are all becoming major startup and tech hubs, all at the expense of the Bay Area. So 2 major tech companies have canceled conferences in San Francisco. 2024 projected to be a very challenging year. So first of all, we do have Red Hat, which is a software company backed by IBM. They are now shifting away from the Bay Area. They are no longer having their conferences coming to the city anymore. I think one of the reasons why is the city is so dangerous, because when you have a massive tech conference, you usually have a lot of people from not just in the US, but around the world flying to San Francisco, and the first thing they see is homeless encampments everywhere. It's very dangerous to be in the city, and walking through the city is very, very challenging, especially at night. So they're actually moving to other places, because if your event is hosted at a city where it's very dangerous just to walk around with, that actually leaves a pretty bad impression on your conference. So they're going to be picking a different city. My guess is probably Austin, Las Vegas, one of those cities, but it hasn't really been confirmed yet. Now, we even seen big old Meta, who's the guy behind Facebook, Instagram, all those different stuff, is no longer coming to the city in 2024. They've kind of figured out that, this is a terrible area to host any sort of event, and everyone is just losing money. And most of the respectable startups have already left. This is why vacancies are so high. Now, if you look at this, San Francisco, people say, was always declared dead and full of AIDS, drugs, and homeless people multiple times in the past 50 years. But this time it's different, right? Because past 50 years, Tenderloin District has always just been an open air drug market. Like, the city just never solves anything. And the whole reason why people put up with it was because of the crazy good startup scene. And even back then, there weren't that many homeless people. There was a few thousand, not like closer to 10,000 like it's now. Yeah, back then there were drugs and a lot of craziness, but the overall city had just a few petty crimes here and there. But it wasn't as bad as this. But after the pandemic, we saw the city really deteriorate, and pretty much the laws and everything was even worse. There was virtually nobody giving a single crap. Nobody cared after the pandemic. And the city just deteriorated, especially post-pandemic. People start noticing, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to pay crazy high taxes to live in a place where it's pretty much unsanitary. They could go somewhere else. Okay, they don't have to stay in San Francisco. So people start noticing this. People start working online. We're seeing a rise of gig workers online, freelancers online, and also companies pretty much mostly move online right now. And this is why the vacancies of San Francisco is so darn high. It is crazy high, okay? And it's not even, I'm not even joking. It's pretty bad. And even have small business owners, guys, I did say the big corporations and the big retail stores, when they leave, it's bad for the city. But eventually when you have a small businesses leave, it really makes the street look very, very empty. So check out this guy. Owns a bunch of convenience stores across the Bay Area. Hopes to eventually pass the businesses down to his children. But now, lost leases on 2 of the locations, slowly closed the other locations, and recently closed the last location. So what the person is complaining about in San Francisco is the foot traffic isn't as high as before. Even said that during the pandemic, the city was shut down so tight that they couldn't make any money. They're getting like 500-600 customers a day. During the pandemic, it's like 100 to 150. Now it's pretty low as well, and they're not even making any money. They're not even breaking even. In fact, they're losing a bunch of capital. And like I said before, right, it's the same thing. You just have too many tents, too many homeless people on the streets, and there's craziness on the streets every single day. And San Francisco is not even that big of a city. It's actually fairly small. So any slight disturbances in the city, it does have a ripple effect because the size of San Francisco is so compact. It's very, very small. And it's just compact. You got tall buildings, skyscrapers everywhere, and then you have suddenly a huge inflow of homeless people. It's just terrible. And the city just doesn't do anything. It's not trying to save the businesses. It's not trying to keep the corporations in by offering incentives. And the city's going broke. And if they do go broke, they can't help the homeless people or anyone in need anymore. They should honestly follow what San Diego's doing. San Diego essentially is putting a ban on homeless encampments. It's trying to save the businesses and the real estate and the landlords. So those guys stay and they could tax them. And then use the tax money to help the homeless people. That's what San Diego's doing. And they were honestly at least trying to save their city. San Diego doesn't care. Like, it's actually insane to see San Francisco running itself to the ground despite being one of the wealthiest cities in the world and despite having such a big, phenomenal tech scene. If you go to any first world country, okay, if you go to Qatar, UAE, even like China, if you look at some of the crazy high-tech Chinese cities, if you go to Japan, go to Korea, Singapore, Australia, you would not see something like San Francisco. And it truly amazes me how this city was ran to the ground. And I really hope they revive it pretty soon. Now, office vacancies are hitting an all-time high. People are sick of it, okay? People don't want to live in a place where there's just feces, urine, and homeless individuals everywhere. They don't want to live in an open-air drug market. They don't want to live in a place where they don't help anyone. I mean, the homeless people need help. No help is giving. Oh, the business owners need help. No help is giving. They're done, okay? And now we got the big startups leaving. And recently you do have Skills, which is this multi-billion-dollar gaming company, recently made the headlines of suddenly packing up shop and moving everybody and everything to Las Vegas, Sin City. In fact, Las Vegas is cleaner. It's well kept together. It's great. Okay, low crime. Houses are actually somewhat affordable there. And for $2 million, you should have a massive mansion with a pool. It's a great place to live. And low taxes, everything, everyone likes it. And now in San Francisco, nearly a third of the offices are empty. Crime, more companies cutting leases, continued layoffs have been massive factors. But it's mostly because of the crime, and this was a massive turnoff. And by the way, a lot of the new college grads are really put off by San Francisco and they don't want to live there. Most of the new grads would much rather work for a tech company that's not located in the Bay Area, which is making a lot of the tech companies in the Bay Area, like San Francisco, very nervous because they want that new talent from college, right? So they're actually moving a lot of their corporate offices elsewhere. Like Tesla was one of the first ones to just get out and go to Austin. And like I said before, 33% vacancies may sound a lot, but I think it's even higher. I personally think it's 40 to 50%, and certain buildings are facing 80, 90% vacancies. I think once this number updates for quarter 3, it's going to be even worse. Okay, the vacancies are rising. And yeah, sure, you may have heard news about how like the AI revolution is causing a lot of people to move back to San Francisco, but only a couple thousand people when you have 10, 20, 30,000 people leaving all at once. So it doesn't really make up for the massive alpha individuals. And also, all of these vacancies is hurting the tax revenue of San Francisco. We're seeing the rise of San Francisco zombie buildings. And this is very similar to the path of which Detroit took. Detroit was an automotive industry, right? They left and the whole city crumbled to dust. San Francisco, now you have the tech companies leaving, and they're leaving in droves. And San Francisco, if this continues for the next 2 or 3 years and you see this exodus and you see the same rise in office vacancies, it's eventually going to be a ghost town in the new Detroit, despite being in such a great location. So thanks for watching, guys. Comment below. Let's hope San Francisco gets itself together. This really is a fantastic city. I highly recommend people to visit it, but don't visit it right now. Visit it if one day it gets better. See you later.